Every day, more and more road users are filming their journeys, which can often end in disaster. Pioneered by motorists in Russia and Eastern Europe, dashboard-mounted cameras are constantly recording our behavior on the roads. From the bizarre, to the ridiculous, the funny, to the downright dangerous. The thousands and thousands of dashcams around the world have captured just about every mishap you can think of. Now we're going to delve into this treasure trove of stupidity on the roads. Put things right by pointing the finger of blame. Replay the action to see what really happened. And of course, there's nothing like seeing other people's mistakes when it comes to helping us become better drivers. And please remember, on all the clips, yes, that's all the clips we show, no one, and that means no one, is seriously hurt. So drive safely. Not everyone is this lucky. Still to come on the show, more ridiculous and repugnant road use from places like Europe that, had it happened in Britain, would have resulted in the following contraventions of the Highway Code. Article 270, you must not stop on the carriageway, hard shoulder, slip road, central reservation or verge except in an emergency. Article 230, when driving in icy or snowy weather, be prepared for the road conditions to change over relatively short distances. The one about making sure the road is sufficiently busy before any sort of U-turn maneuver. And from some dodgy online gaming site, for the worst odds you'll ever get on a car crash, there's a larder alert. Great empires throughout history have been forged with a direct approach. Steamrolling across the globe and through any and all obstacles is the only way the Greeks, Romans, Macedonians, Huns and Transformers ever enjoyed domination. Obviously, that kind of behavior is frowned upon these days, but that doesn't mean there aren't still people with that dictatorial gene in their bodies. And when those people get behind the wheel of a car, well, it'll be nothing short of a collision course. Undertakers are the worst sort of human beings, but undertakers who use the hard shoulder, well, those people are just plain kamikaze. What we need are more plucky young bucks like this to put them in their place. If only there was some sort of award I could dish out at the end of the show for citizens' arrest driving like this. Out of season, ice hockey players in Canada practice defensive tactics in 20-ton trucks. It's tough training, but it saves money on refrigeration. And now, for your viewing pleasure, a new sport that is making its way over to us from those mavericks in Eastern Europe. Vehicular jousting. Yes, there are a couple of minor health and safety issues to iron out, but I imagine the bidding war to snap up the TV rights is going to be a big one. Free bit of advice now. If you've accidentally taken the wrong junction, do not try and course correct at the last minute. Just accept your error and find another route home. Otherwise, you'll be bouncing into the magistrate's court on Monday. I often wonder if the braking distances quoted in my car's manual are accurate. But there's a time and place for testing them out, and this isn't it. Under the desks, people. Larder alert. It's the little car that simply never fails to disappoint. Guapacha, rubato. Don't worry, folks. I haven't lost my tiny mind as a result of my exposure to so much roadway randomness, though truth to be told, I'm on the edge. No, I'm just brushing up on some of my ballroom dancing terminology, as we've reached that time in the show where we like to clutch at straws and tenuously link together the accidents you see on the road with the action you see on a dance floor. That's right, folks. It's time to indulge in some more Strictly Car Crashing. A quick step to start, and a very quick one it is too. Rapid, in fact. And as the two dancers come together, you see that pace payoff, a quick 180, followed by another one. That is a solid start, and they've laid down a good marker. 7.
A solo effort now, and here comes...
Uh-oh, larder alert.
Vladimir Romanov, or the White Russian, as he is known on the ballroom circuit. This is an elegant and tight performance as he hugs the curve of the dance floor. And then, I don't believe it, he pulls off a perfectly executed 360 spin. But no,
Larder alert.
he's overcooked it and ends up striking the judge's table. What a shame, just 5.
I'm not against dancers using props in a routine, but bringing a rain machine onto a dance floor is just foolhardy, darling. That is one of the worst waltzes I've ever been subjected to.
Such drama and tension in his tango. A real sense of anticipation as the lead dancer searches the floor for his partner. And here she comes now, ready to be taken into his warm embrace. Such emotion. It brought tears to his eyes. Somebody pass me a tissue. It simply has to be a 10.
Well, I don't think much of this samba. Where's the hip action, darling? It's so flat and moribund, I'm starting to drop off. Oh, finally, you've come alive. But too little too late, I'm afraid, for... The Jousting now, my personal favourite, marrying together fancy footwork and impeccable comic timing. You've nailed that fancy footwork, and you've nailed the comedy too. Take a bow, my son, you've earned it 9. And to finish, we have the jive, a fun and energetic dance to get the pulse racing. And look, a swerve to the left, and then back to the right. His pulse must be going overtime. 8. A great way to bring down the curtain on this most spectacular of spectacles. And remember, keep crashing.
I've got a brand new combine harvester, but there's plenty of other massive events in the countryside too. Only the other day, one of my cows broke the Yeovil Monster Truck Circuit perimeter fence. We'll be having spaghetti bolognese for months now, I expect. Of particular charm is how ordinary country folk have mastered the art of crashing when there's no one else around. Thank goodness for the fun of the country bumpkins. Now, this is my ideal driving condition. Great weather, miles of open space, flat, straight roads, and barely anyone on them. Only a complete moron can cause a crash out here. Ooh, look, there's one now.
Listen, I get it. The countryside is a bit of a slower-paced lifestyle. And for a younger generation obsessed with video games and action movies, that can seem a bit sedate. Or you can just play a huge real-life version of the video game Frogger with unsuspecting elderly businessmen. He's got an extra life, clearly. When you're out in the countryside, there's a special form of respect drivers have for each other, where they pass that rare other car on the road. The horn honk and wave, the tip of the flat cap, or in this region, the 360-degree spin salute also works. Good to see the traditional ways still very much alive. With no broadband and very bad mobile signal, Tinder is not available to country livers, so they have stuck to more face-to-face methods of dating. It works just as well.
I'll tell you what country bumpkins have that those city slickers don't. Beautiful landscapes to explore whenever they want. Just watch this bloke turn a boring drive on the tarmac into an impromptu off-roading adventure. Ah, that's the life. Nothing like the smell of fresh snow-capped pine trees to relax the senses and take the stress from your mind.
Careful how relaxed your senses become, however. Otherwise, you'll be getting an incredibly close-up look at those pine trees, and the stress will come rushing back faster than you can say deliverance. The keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed that in a lot of our clips, a car loses a part or two. So we thought, why not use these clips as the basis for a fun and tasteful quiz that you, dear viewer, can play along with at home. The game is simple. A collision is on the cards, and our vehicle is going to part with some of its parts. But which? Let us play. Appetite for Deconstruction.
A yellow building. Rock on. I used to insist that all the M&Ms on my rider were yellow. Used to drive the entourage mad. Anyway, this collision is inevitable. Is that silver shadow going to lose a wing mirror, a number plate, or a bumper? Rock and roll. The bump removed the bumper. At least it did his job. And now we have a blue movie, a favourite on the tour bus. But will the racy coupling result in the birth of a whale, a number plate, or a windscreen? Muzzle top, it's a number plate. That's a lot of white cars. Reminds me of the time in the mid-70s when I joined that cult. I had to rebel, though, when they took away all my bourbon. And look, one of the members of this cult is rebelling too. He's making a bid for freedom, but at what cost? A bumper, a wheel, or a hubcap? That's right, he was a hubcap, and his escape attempt was in vain. Time to report to the High Priest for your punishment. Welcome to Chernobyl. I've never been the same since we played that gig there in the late 80s. The guy in the yellow van is en route to repair the building on the right, so he's carrying a job lot of concrete. But will all that weight see him lose a bumper, a number plate, or a wheel? That's right, a wheel. That van was a serious piece of heavy metal. Well, that's all, rock fans. The groupies have arrived, so I'm going to be getting very busy. See you soon for more Appetite for Deconstruction.
The Romans had the right idea when they ate chaffinches lying down, threw innocent people into ponds full of starving conger eels at cocktail parties, and only built completely straight roads. The hard thing about driving is when you have to change direction. It causes no end of bother out there. Beware the terrible turns! This clip was actually filmed in the early 1980s on the streets of Dublin, and the keen-eyed amongst you will notice on the right those 4 young men who would go on to global fame as rock band U2. The driver of the car we're on board with was a big fan in the early days, so can't resist turning around to go back for an autograph. But he still hasn't found what he's looking for. Stop the tape! Look, I'm not doing cheap puns like that. I happen to think you two are some of the finest artists of the late 20th century. You what? Terminated my contract? Oh, certainly, sir. I'm so sorry, sir. I quite agree, sir. Where the streets have no name, it's always a beautiful day for a car crash. With or without you. When considering a U-turn, do take the time to ensure the road is clear before doing so. Look at that ahead. Lovely clear road. Obviously, though, the same favourable conditions apply to anyone else doing a U-turn. I'm not sure how you planned for that. Two-tone buildings, how lovely. But moving on. It's time for the most incredulous reaction of the show. I mean, it's not like he cut across an entire lane of traffic to make that turn, is it? No, not him. He wouldn't dream of it. I don't know what it is about this clip, but it's making me want a cigarette. Batten down the hatches. Larder alert. Double larder alert. Ah! We're all going to die! Sorry, it's just... I have my reasons, okay? When you are driving your fridge, the big benefit is ready access to cold beer and a nice hummus dip. But the downside is that the low acceleration of fridges means cutting across 3 lanes of traffic on a busy road is a recipe for disaster. You might have some yogurt, but you don't have the acceleration and aerodynamics. Meanwhile, in this rare Second World War footage, you can see that idiotic lane switching is nothing new and always had the same results. Coming up later on Car Crash TV, we find out if driving in wintry conditions really is snow joke, and play another game of everyone's favorite car crash conundrum, hit or miss. But first, this is a big cue for the church. Must be the Sabbath, and this day of quiet reflection is about to be rudely interrupted. So, what happens next? It's bringing up the rear. Welcome back to Car Crash TV. So what did happen next? Well, today is Sunday, and in this town there are a lot of sinners eager to get to the church and give their confession. But one resident has been a particularly bad boy and needs to cleanse his soul. Coming through. That's what happens when you covet your neighbor's oxen. Roads to the left of me, roads to the right of me, roads in front and behind me, and no, I'm not talking about my recent trip to Greece. Look, frankly, the whole church choir's trip was ruined by the police inquiry. We thought it was an official nudist camp. It was only when we got to the middle of the shopping centre that I realised my mistake. Anyway, there's a bunch of hapless drivers getting all discombobulated at the place where 2 or more roads meet. It's Junction Jockeys. I've no idea what that billboard is trying to sell me. It just looks like a girl in a hoodie to me. Strange marketing ploy. And look, here comes an actual girl in a hoodie. This is bizarre, and it looks like she's carrying a pizza. Are they advertising pizzas? Seems a strange way to go about marketing pizzas, but now I want a pizza. It works! Whoever came up with this marketing campaign is a genius. Tired of the boring and dull look of your motor car? Then fear not. Just invest in a tiny yellow illuminated replica of the ancient Peruvian mountain city of Machu Picchu and display it proudly on the roof. Although be warned, your new fashion accessory can be a distraction to other road users. Accessorize at your own risk, people. French jet-set holiday town Saint-Tropez in high summer, and the high-spec 4x4 is carrying a group of supermodels to an exclusive film star party aboard a yacht. Watch out for the gate crashers. You're not on the list, mate. Go to Gran Canaria like the rest of you people.
No longer afraid of the law after sweeping government cutbacks to public services, criminal mob bosses now openly flaunt their perceived invincibility by meeting in broad daylight and causing a scene. Here we have Mickey Two Fingers Giovanni meeting Tony the Hat DeSanto to organize a hit on a rival boss. The nerve of these guys.
Okay, I just made all of that up. What a glorious sunny day. Just the kind of weather that provides perfect visibility. To watch some calamitous junction jockeys get themselves in a right pickle. Some people just can't control themselves at junctions and get a little overexcited at joining the traffic before it's the right time to do so. Like this guy. That's it. Back up, little fella. Wait your turn. Hollywood, and we're on the set of the new Batman movie, and the Joker is taking part in a daring escape attempt from the local nut house. Can we call it a nut house? From the local psychiatric hospital. With the Batmobile currently undergoing repairs, Batman has jumped into the next best thing, a Volkswagen Golf, and is in hot pursuit. There's the Joker now, in the white van. Always a white van at asylums. Can we call it an asylum? From the local residential enhanced care home. And there goes Batman, to cut them off and save the day. Thanks, Caped Crusader. By day, I'm the world's greatest authority on road traffic safety. But by night, I like to dabble in the world of amateur sleuthing. Except the first weekend of every month when I like to be called Susan. Like all great detectives, though, I rely on a faithful assistant. And since I have no friends, it is to you I turn, dear viewer. Please will you help me solve another crash scene investigation? A green building. Interesting color scheme, but I'm not here to admire external paint jobs. I'm here to solve a crime, and the one on the left of the screen looks like a doozy. But who's responsible for this mess of motor cars? Is it A, who's on the wrong side of the road? Could be a clue. B, the black SUV tucked up to car A. Or car C, the black car at the back looking shifty. Right, we're approaching the junction. There's the green building, or is it tall? And look, here comes car A. Seems to be driving sensibly, but wait! That is no place to overtake. Now look what you've gone and done, you ruddy idiot. You, my friend, are guilty as charged. Join me next time to solve another crash scene investigation. Yes, it's that time in the show where we crank up the cheesy music, roll up our sleeves, and get ready for some good old-fashioned audience participation. You've guessed it, folks. It's another installment of Belgium's favorite car crash-related quiz show item, Hit or Miss.
Let us get down to business. And here's your first conundrum. Okay, well, this all seems to be above board. The road markings are thorough and substantial. The traffic lights are on green. However, up ahead, a couple of mavericks seem to be disregarding the measures that have been put in place for their own safety. So, will the car we're traveling in it, the white Wally, the red rule breaker, or will we get to see a near miss? And it's a hit. Our man was in the right, should provide a small crumb of comfort.
This is your captain speaking, and if you look to your right, you'll see a tool in a black Passat about to pull out into oncoming traffic. But are we destined to hit him? Course correct and hit the parked blue car, or floor it and get away scot-free. It's a hit. Now please put your seat back up and stow your tray tables in the upright position. Thank you. They say you shouldn't overtake using the central reservation, and here's why. But will this pickup truck's preposterous piece of driving see him hit the black car, the white car, the traffic lights, or will he miss completely, rendering my point null and void? Ah, A miss. Great. Thanks a lot. I'm trying to educate people here. Moving swiftly on, and here's a chance for me to try and make another serious point. They say you should never speed on ice, and here's why. But is this speed demon about to hit the car turning in front of him? Or will he miss completely, rendering my point null and void? Great! A miss! Thanks a lot! Undermined again! Unbelievable! Fine, I give up! Join us next time for more Hit or Miss!
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you aboard this flight to somewhere very cold and in the Arctic. We do ask you to remember that no matter how bad the British weather can be, somewhere else in the world is a lot colder and more miserable right now. Fortunately, those places have crazy motorists and dashcams too, because these clips are certainly no joke. Ah, such a peaceful scene. A little old car leisurely taking a U-ey on a snow-dappled suburban street. Nothing could ruin this calm. Apart from a 10-ton lorry, of course. Snow is a lot like sand in many ways. A nightmare to deal with in a storm, swirls all over the place and makes traction difficult, and you're likely to see mirages in both. Was that? Did they? Were they? No. Probably just imagined it. Okay, I've got an idea for a giant version of that air hockey game. All we need are a couple of lads in cars they don't need anymore, a ton of slushy ice, and a lack of common sense or focus whatsoever. Behold, Crash Hockey, who's in?
Oh no, it looks like this bloke in the Range Rover has clipped the little transport bus. What an absolute nightmare. He won't be making another mistake like that for a while. Wow, please, God, don't let him reverse towards me, please! Funny thing about driving incredibly fast towards objects that are at a standstill, you always seem to smash directly into them. Must be a coincidence, right? If you end up in a spin whilst driving, you are always meant to steer into it to regain control, unless obviously that direction includes a metal fence. Nice work, chap. I'm not saying this bloke is a bad judge of distance. I'm just saying that if he offers you a lift, you'll probably be safer learning to base jump off low buildings instead. And finally, look at this genius who causes an accident by making another car swerve, but avoids it and instantly goes and parks in a space so small he scrapes right down the side of the minibus. Give him another vodka. He might need it to dull the pain coming his way.